cannot serve both God and mammon. Mammon, riches, wealth, material possessions. So you see my hands, I have a few things that I'll use as my props. Now, holding my hand for those who cannot see, I'm holding my phone. All right, how many of you have lost your phone? See a couple of hands. There was one lunch I was having with my colleagues, and I had left my phone at a restaurant, El Cortez. Those of you in Tinley would know what that's at. I didn't realize I had left it there until we were already back at the office. And my feelings were like your feelings when you lost it. Your anxiety skyrockets. Because what's on this phone? I need what's on this phone. Pictures, apps. My life is in this phone. I was willing to break every law to get to El Cortez as fast as I could to get this phone. And yes, I got to El Cortez, went in, and the maitre d' was there, and it says, I think I know what you're looking for. If I only had faith. If I only had faith that the maitre d' would be honest and had picked up my phone, would I have rushed? Then I kind of reflected upon this gospel. Actually reflected on it when I was saying a rosary. I've said many rosaries this past week. I'll get to that. But the 5th decade of the Joyful Rosary talks about Jesus being lost in the temple. And how Mary and Joseph rushed back once they realized that Jesus wasn't with them. Their son wasn't with them when they went to the temple over Pentecost. So I ask us, whether it's this phone or your keys, or heaven forbid it's one of your children, how many of us rush to find Jesus when we lose him? Right? There's no question in the past weeks and months and years and decades, there's evidence that there's evil in this world, is there not? There's complete evidence of how Jesus is lost. Maybe not in your heart for a moment, but there's lost in other people's hearts. And how we can be a vessel. You cannot serve both God and mammon at the same time. You're either going to love one or you're going to hate the other. You're either going to love what's self-serving for me and my beliefs, or you're going to love God and you're going to love what he stands for. Giving. But sometimes we have to go back to the basics. You know, they took the 10 Commandments out of our schools. Well, maybe we need to go back to that, don't we? What is sin? If you were to reflect on what is sin, what does it mean to live the truth? So if I were to kind of just, I'm not going to put you all on the spot, but this is a reflection for you all. If you were to be able to recite the 10 Commandments, could you do it? Honestly. I encourage you to talk about the scenarios that are happening in this world with your children. I'm holding another prop. This cross. Oh, you all know I get passionate. This cross was put on my desk by a colleague of mine at work, right in front of my monitor. And it's a cross with the ascended Lord, right? Not the crucified Lord, the ascended Lord. And it was just this past week. It was roughly Wednesday. All right? I can't stand here and tell you that. The murder of Charlie Kirk didn't affect me. That bullet that pierced my heart. If I preach the gospel, This is no reason for me to boast, for an obligation has been imposed upon me. And woe to me if I do not preach it. This is St. Paul's letter to the Corinthians. We are all called to preach the gospel, the truth. The person that left this is not even Catholic. There is a moment in our lives here. Sometimes we need to be awakened and realize that maybe the path we're on is not the path Christ wants us to be on. You know, this reading reminds me of the rich man who approached Jesus. He says, "What must I do to inherit eternal life?" Right? Remember that? It's in the three Gospels. Matthew, Mark, and Luke. It's in the stories of the three. What must I do to inherit eternal life? And what did he say? He gave him two. Well, follow the commandments. Right? Follow the commandments. What are the first three? They have to do with God. I am the Lord your God. You shall have no other gods before me. What's two? Don't use the Lord's name in vain. 3, keep holy the Sabbath. The next one, honor your mother and father. The 5th one, I shall not kill or murder. The next 3, I shall not lie, cheat, or steal. I shall not bear false witness. I shall not commit adultery, and I shall not steal. And then the last 2, I shall not covet. I shall not want. I shall not yearn for someone else's things. I shall not yearn for someone else's wife or husband. I shall not covet. Those are the 10. But this rich man said, well, I keep all those commandments. He must have been pretty righteous, because I don't know about you, but I probably failed at a number of those. We're all sinners. We're all sinners. And in Timothy's letter today, he said we are all available for the salvation of God, but we've got to make a choice. And even in Timothy's letter, he says there is one God, the first commandment. He also said, Jesus came to save. He's our mediator. But to that rich person, he said, the rich person said to Jesus, well, I've done all these things. I should get to heaven, right? He said, no. He still has something else. Go give everything you have and give it to the poor. What do you think the rich man did? You cannot serve God and mammon at the same time. Now the Lord knew what was in it. He was challenging him, just like he challenges us, even in this moment. Even in this moment when we see murder. What do we do? Do we resort to anger? Do we resort to greed? Resort to pride? How I feel is how I'm going to impose that to somebody else? Prayer. Bring it to prayer. You may have disagreements. Those 3 deadly sins that I just rattled off: anger, wrath, greed, pride. There's several others in there. Sloth. Can't think of the other word, I'm sorry. You guys can name them out, you know where they're. Those sins, we all have them. And Jesus wants us to come to him. And if you feel those deadly sins, if you feel that anger well up inside you, Look at his teachings. Look at his teachings of peace. Look at his teachings of love. There's wisdom in what he has taught us. So as we continue to celebrate Mass here today, as we continue on with our lives out of church, there is evil, but there's also righteousness. Which side are you going to be on? Those that conflict with you, what are you going to do? Approach them with love and compassion. Talk with your children. Don't assume that what they saw, that they're processing that. It took time for me to process it. It's important you get a sense of where their mind is at. Yes, I have talked to my children. One of them is sitting here. Because they don't see that every day. So approach conversation with love. As the venerate Fulton Sheen taught, says, when you die, when you meet Christ, he's going to ask you, whether he knows this or not, but he knows. Let's say he's a bit more theological than I am. He's going to ask you 3 questions. He's going to say, show me your hands. Show me the wounds in your hands of how you gave. He says, show me your feet. Show me your feet, the wounds in your feet of how you serve. And show me your heart. Show me your heart that you left room for me.